Congresswoman Elise was certainly paying close attention, and I would imagine she's got a thought or three on all of this. Congresswoman, thank you for being here.
Great to be with you, Jeff.
What did you hear last night that made you say, yep, that's the President Trump I support?
Well, first of all, it was a clear contrast between President Trump's success in his first term, the economic success, the national security strength, as well as the secure border. Compare that with Kamala Harris's failed record as Joe Biden's open borders are, as the deciding vote for Joe Biden's Inflation Expansion Act, and just the weak foreign policy of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. She was the last person in the room advising Joe Biden when he made the decision for the catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan. And what was interesting is, you're right, it was a 3-on-1 debate. You had both of the moderators not functioning as moderators. They were activists supporting Kamala Harris. So Trump wasn't just debating Kamala, he was debating the two moderators as well. So anyone viewing that could see the bias. And I think President Trump won that debate. I also think the headlines that are out today were pre-written. They were going to write no matter what that Kamala won. But if you look beneath the headlines at actually undecided voters, Trump is winning undecided voters who viewed the debate. So I think despite the media putting all of their emphasis to prop Kamala Harris up, I actually think you're going to see the polls get stronger for President Trump after the debate.
Wow, I love to hear that. Congresswoman Elise is joining us. Congresswoman, as I watched it last night, I watched the first part of it, and then I listened to the second part of it on the radio, and I heard different things. You know, you experienced different things. Her body language, I thought, was just absolutely, positively childish.
Yes, and the debates are, you're right, if you listen to it, you have a very different experience than you watch it. And she did not show the strength that was needed, especially when compared to President Trump, who exudes strength and always does well on the debate stage. I also think there's such a thing as being overcoached. She was overcoached in terms of her mannerisms that were prepped ahead of time. And people don't want to see that. You have to envision the next commander-in-chief going up against Putin, going up against Xi, and she did not cross that bar. Again, the media is doing everything they can to prop her up, but for voters who are not paying attention to the chattering class at the cocktail parties, that are just watching about how these policies are going to impact me and who's going to get this country out of this mess, overwhelmingly President Trump wins.
You talk about her being overcoached, and the way I described it just a few moments ago before you arrived was that she didn't prepare for the debate. She rehearsed. She was running lines like she was in a television show or a movie.
Yes, that's what I mean by overcoach, when you can tell that they're rehearsed and it's not focused on the policy issues. The other real weakness is she said, I have a plan. And everybody in America is thinking to themselves, well, you've been in office for nearly 4 years and the plan hasn't worked, and you're not even talking about the specifics of your plan. So that was the other failure she had, was she talked a lot about herself and not about how the policies impact real people who are struggling with inflation going to the grocery store, people who see energy prices going up, people who are seeing that their security and safety is at risk because these wide open borders. So again, President Trump is deeply connected to the American people. I know from my constituents or from the Gold Star families who lost their loved ones because of the withdrawal from Afghanistan, or law enforcement officers, President Trump understands that his policies and leadership impact real people's lives, and that's why he is running to save this country.
Congresswoman Elise is joining us. You made a great observation there that these headlines, of course, were pre-written. If you spent any time with the ABC News folks watching their pre-debate show, it was a cheerleading session. It was a pep rally for the vice president. But what about the assertions that she got under President Trump's skin when she talked about people leaving his rallies, a couple of other things where it just seemed like she was annoying him?
Well, you know what? The moderators didn't correct that. While they went out of their way to push back on President Trump has to push back when she makes those falsehoods. She made numerous falsehoods throughout the debate, and he needs to set that record straight before talking about his policies. I think he did that, but he can't just let that go unanswered. Again, he is right. I've been to many of his rallies. They are energetic. People are there for hours and hours. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Democrats can't fill a stadium for their rallies. So he had to push back on that. I think he did it effectively. Again, for viewers who were just watching the debate, which is millions of Americans, increasingly they're going to support President Trump. That's a very different perspective than the mainstream media who just had who they wanted to win, which was Kamala Harris.
Yeah, it's a great point. Again, they had their verdict already passed long before this ever took place. Now the question is, will there be another debate? Up until now, President Trump has said, "Hey, let's have a debate. Once a week if you want to. I'm available for it." And the Harris folks have been hiding. Now we've got the Harris people saying, "Well, maybe we'll do another one." Do you get any sense from President Trump's campaign? Would they or wouldn't they?
Well, first of all, Kamala Harris has a lot more questions she needs to answer from the American people. This is someone who has yet to sit for an interview, one-on-one with a journalist with hard-hitting questions. And it is absurd to run for President of the United States and not sit for that interview. Look, when I was 29 years old running for Congress, I sat for those interviews all the time about why I was running, answering tough questions. She needs to do that running for President of the United States, and that pressure is going to be on. I also think Kamala Harris is the type of candidate, the more people hear from her, the worse her approvals get. And that's really the kiss of death for any type of candidate, versus President Trump continues to gain support. People who are getting off the sidelines, who maybe didn't support him in the past, but see the destruction that Kamala Harris's policies have caused and are going to vote for Trump this election cycle.
So do you think there will or will not be another debate?
I don't know. That's a decision that President Trump is and his team are going to have to make. Kamala Harris, they clearly want to handpick the moderators. They want this debate to be rigged like the ABC debate. Yep. And again, she needs to sit for interviews before she starts doing that. But that's going to be hashed out. The real issue is who presents the best leadership and the best plan and record to save the country, and that's overwhelmingly Trump. We saw what he did in the first term, and then we have seen how quickly the economy has soured, how quickly the world is on fire under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
I don't think she said anything truthful, Madam Congresswoman, after she introduced herself and said, "Hi, I'm Kamala Harris."
Well, she tried to wipe away her previous positions. She supports banning fracking. She supports defunding the police. She wanted to use dollars to bail out criminals who burnt Minneapolis to the ground and other cities to the ground. She is very radical. This is not a moderate U.S. senator. This is a radical San Francisco liberal that's deeply out of touch. When she talks about her values haven't changed, she's right. Her values are far left. They are radical. And they're just politically trying to play this game. But you know what? The voters are smart. They're going to see through that. And particularly in states like Pennsylvania, where a position to ban fracking is devastating, every voter is going to know that before they go to the polls.
Well, I hope you'll pass along to President Trump's team that here in Virginia, I've now seen some television commercials for Harris, and the conventional thinking would be she wouldn't need to run them here because Joe Biden won Virginia by 10 points. But the fact that she's running them indicates to me it's very much a toss-up. It's a real race here in Virginia. We're hoping to see President Trump come back and help to rally the troops here.
Yes, Virginia is very important. We're going on offense in some of these House seats, particularly Virginia 7. We're supporting Derek Anderson because we need to pick up seats in the House to have a strong Republican majority, supporting great candidates like Jen Higgins, who is a great representative for Virginia's 2nd District, and also build on the success of Governor Glenn Youngkin, who made history in his gubernatorial race and really showed, like President Trump, that today's Republican Party is the party of hardworking Americans, it's the party of parents, and it's the party of economic opportunity.
And don't forget, the gentleman who is soon to be my congressman, who's been a friend forever, John McGuire in the 5th District here. He's doing a...
Absolutely. He's excellent. We're looking forward to serving with him. I saw him last week.
Congresswoman, I always appreciate you being here, and as a Jewish American, let me just say thank you so much for holding the fascistic university presidents to account. It means a lot.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.